Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to break down some really fascinating source material today about a force that honestly shapes our entire world, ideology. More specifically, we're going to talk about how you can spot when a belief system stops being a helpful tool and starts becoming a kind of trap. I mean, have you ever felt that pull, that feeling of a belief system that's so powerful it's like psychological gravity? It's a really intense feeling, right? And that's exactly what we're digging into in this explainer. And right away, here's the most important distinction to make. The real danger of an extreme ideology. It isn't that it's necessarily wrong. The danger is that it's absolute. It's this claim that it has the one true answer for everything, and that leaves zero room for doubt or nuance or complexity. Okay, so if these things can be so dangerous, you've got to ask, why do people fall for them in the first place? Well, it turns out the attraction is incredibly powerful, and it all starts with a very, very seductive promise. The promise of simplicity. And this feeling right here, this is the hook. It doesn't feel like you're being trapped at all. No, it feels like you're waking up for the first time. It's this sudden, almost exhilarating rush of clarity where the messy, complicated world, well, it finally seems to make perfect sense. So this is what that rush feels like. All of a sudden, there are no more gray areas. Every single difficult question has one simple, straightforward answer. You can see how powerful that would be, right? It's like a hit of meaning and certainty and belonging all at once. And this brings us to our first really crucial takeaway from the source material. This is your first line of defense, right here. Be suspicious of anything that makes life feel too simple. Just pause and be skeptical. Why? Because reality itself, the real world, it's just not that simple. All right, so let's get to the real meat of this explainer. Think of this next part as a field guide, straight from our source, for spotting the warning signs of a toxic belief system. We're going to walk through the 6 key signs of danger. Yep, there are 6 of them. 6 major red flags to watch out for, whether it's in a group you see or even in your own thinking. So let's break them down one by one. Okay, so the first sign we're looking at is that it absolutely requires an enemy. A total ideology can't just exist on its own. It has to define itself by what it's against. It needs that constant us versus them dynamic just to survive. And look at the kind of language that gets used for them. It's always the corrupt, the unenlightened, the oppressors. The moment you start slapping these labels on entire groups of people, you begin to strip away their humanity. And this is exactly how cruelty gets justified. This is how societies fracture. It's no longer about finding truth, it's just about tribalism. Okay, on to sign number 3. This one is all about what happens inside the group. The pressure starts coming from within. There's this immense unspoken force that pushes for total conformity, and, well, it punishes anyone who dares to think for themselves. And this really gets to the heart of it. There's a fundamental shift in what's considered important. Inside that ideological bubble, loyalty. Loyalty to the group, to the slogans, to the leaders, that becomes way more important than the honest, objective search for truth. If you question the group, you're not seen as curious. You're seen as having a moral failure. You're a bad person. All right, sign number 4, and this one is deeply, deeply ironic. People often join these groups because they want to feel enlightened. They want to expand their minds. But a toxic ideology does the absolute opposite. It doesn't expand your world. It puts blinders on you. It shrinks your world. So what does that look like? Well, everything you see starts getting filtered through the ideology's lens. A person is no longer just a person. They're a category, an ally or an enemy. Your own original thoughts get replaced with just repeating the doctrine, the talking points. And maybe worst of all, curiosity. The engine of all personal growth. It just dies. It's starved up. Next up, sign number 5. It puts emotion way above evidence. Think about it. Healthy belief systems, they can handle being questioned. They can stand up to scrutiny. But extreme ideologies, they run on a totally different kind of fuel. They prioritize these powerful, overwhelming emotions over actual verifiable facts. And these right here, this is the fuel for that engine. Outrage, righteousness, fear, that feeling of moral superiority. When those feelings become the primary authority, then facts just become these inconvenient little obstacles to be ignored or explained away. And as our source material warns, you can use powerful emotions like these to justify almost anything.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most insidious red flag. Sign number 6. Healthy thinking welcomes doubt, right? It's how we learn, it's how we grow. But in an extreme ideology, doubt is treated like a sin. It's seen as a contamination, a form of betrayal to the group. I really want you to let this quote sink in for a second, because this is the ultimate cost. The moment you are forbidden from questioning a belief, you have surrendered your intellectual freedom. The ideology is no longer your tool. You have become its tool. Okay, so we've laid out all the warning signs, all the red flags. The natural next question is, so what do we do about it? How do we protect ourselves? So let's move on to the antidote, the practical strategies you can use to hold on to your mental freedom and your clarity.
And look, this isn't about avoiding all beliefs or trying to live without any convictions at all. That's not the goal. The goal isn't to be empty, it's to be flexible. So what does that actually look like day to day?
Really, the antidote boils down to a conscious shift in your focus. Instead of picking a team and then defending it no matter what, you commit yourself to seeking the truth, wherever it leads. Instead of just repeating slogans, you actively look for the nuance, the gray areas. And instead of getting swept up in all that emotional fervor, you ground yourself in the facts. And this next part is it's absolutely critical. The community you choose to be a part of will either protect your mind or it will cage it. You have to actively seek out people who aren't afraid of complexity, people who can disagree without demonizing each other, and, this is a big one, people who care more about being correct than about just winning an argument. Those are the people who will keep you intellectually free. And here's one last, really crucial piece of advice from our source. You have to be aware of your own vulnerabilities. These totalizing, all-encompassing systems, they're most powerful when we feel lost or lonely or scared, or when we're just desperate for a solid identity. It's in those vulnerable moments that the promise of simple, absolute certainty is the most tempting.
And this is the final thought we're going to leave you with. This, right here, is the goal: to think for yourself, to hold your beliefs with a little bit of humility, and to cultivate a mind that is just too curious, too complex, and too free to be owned by any single script. Now that is a goal worth striving for.